Hello and welcome to the Tank Club. This is going to be another gear set review video. This time we're going to be looking at the gear set Leeching Plate. I imagine a lot of people will have pressed on this video expecting me to completely rip this set apart, but I'm going to try and be constructive. I'm going to explain the good side, the bad side, and I'm going to try and give people a different approach and opinion on the set. This is a common set used in a lot of different tank builds all over the internet and YouTube, but not very often does somebody challenge the use of this set in a constructive way and try and help people understand the different side, the different view about the set. So that's what I'm going to try and do today. So if we look at the basic details to start off with, this is a heavy armor set and it's found in the Imperial City Prison dungeon. And the item bonuses for this set, so with 2 items we get 1206 max health, 3 items we get 4% healing taken, 4 items we get 1206 max health, and for the 5 items, when you take damage, you summon a cloud of leeching poison under the assailant. The cloud deals 1180 poison damage every 1 second for 5 seconds, and heals you for 100% of the damage caused. A cloud can be created once every 5 seconds, so that's essentially a 100% uptime potential of the set. First of all, we'll look at the kind of positives of the set. So the way leeching works is when you have an enemy who is attacking you, it places poison damage on that enemy. And then every 1 second for 5 seconds, each time that poison damage does damage to the enemy, or the enemies, however many enemies are attacking you, it will heal you for the same amount. So effectively, the more enemies attacking you, the better it is. In a dungeon situation, you'll often have a lot more than 1 enemy, so this makes you basically unkillable in that environment. On the flip side, I do see people try and use this set for trials, and if you really think about it logically, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So if you have 1 boss, and you're in a trial, it's going to be a 10-minute fight, you'd get a far better healing return from another set, or a monster set that does healing. So if you do decide to use this for trials, it's not going to be anywhere near as close to being as good as it is in a dungeon situation. When using this gear set with a Dragon Knight tank, it will also provide you with a lot of sustain via the combustion passive, which gives you 500 stamina each time you poison an enemy. And obviously, this is going to happen a lot when you're applying poison damage to an enemy that is attacking you with basically a set that has 100% uptime. This is going to be ticking very, very frequently. The way I feel that this set is both useful and worth using is for people who don't main a tank. So you don't main a tank, but you want to get through some random dungeons and some pledges, so using this set is obviously going to be good for that. For tanks who play at a very casual level, who just want to chill out, log in, do some dailies, no stress, you want an easy to use set that's going to help you get through the content. If you're a tank who is happy with where they're at in terms of their tanking ability, the content they're doing, their progression. Look, you're not looking to progress onwards to more difficult content. In those situations, this set is great. This set provides tons of healing, great sustain for DKs. The more enemies attacking you, the more healing and sustain you get. It's perfect for dungeon content, especially if you are kind of one of those players or one of those people that fit the description that I just mentioned. Now for the negative side of this set, I'm really going to try and avoid completely crapping on leeching, but I do want you to try and understand this point of view as well. And it's fine if you disagree, and if you want to use leeching, then that is absolutely up to you. I can't force you not to use it, and I'm not going to tell you not to use it. It's completely your decision. If you fit the description of somebody that I just mentioned, then obviously leeching is going to be a very, very good set to use in that situation. So some minor gripes, I guess, to start with. In the current patch, nowadays in this current environment, the max health benefits of leeching aren't as useful as they might have been in the past. So when I use gear at the moment myself that doesn't have any health bonuses, I have over 40k max health as a tank, which is enough for pretty much all content, whether it's normal, vet or hard mode. So the health benefits are not as valuable now compared to what they would have been before, and compared to a set that might have stam, Magica recovery, maybe some other kind of bonuses. But the health's okay, it's just not as good as it would have been in previous patches. Now, for leeching, I really don't like to see this set aimed at beginner tanks. And this is mainly because, for beginner tanks, in my own opinion, a beginner tank build should be aimed at like a setup, a build that requires you to not have to do any content. Crafted sets, overland sets, that sort of thing. It makes more sense to me for a beginner build to be set up in that way, because you want to be able to use a beginner tank build to set it up and go and use that build to farm gear and be able to complete basic content. Like, that is the starter point. It's a beginner build for beginner players. So you need something that you can put together easily, and you use that build to go and get the gear set you need for your main build. That is the whole point of having a beginner build. Something that's going to help you get to where you need to be and be able to get the gear that you need to get. So using leeching for a beginner build, I don't agree with. I also I really believe that leeching hinders your ability to actually learn how to tank. And it makes it difficult for people to progress onto harder content at a later time. So in the future, like, let's say you use leeching, it becomes much more difficult to progress past it later on. And this is why I said that I think it works best for the people that we listed. People who are happy where they are, people who don't have a lot of time to play, people that want an easy time, don't have a lot of time to kind of put into the game. They want to chill out and just do some dailies. It's aimed at really those people. On the flip side, if you are someone who's getting into tanking and hoping to learn, develop, and reach whatever you personally class as your end game, whether that's like organised vet dungeons or hard modes, arenas, vet trials, or even getting fancy titles like Godslayer, you will have an extremely hard time moving away from using leeching if you start off your journey as a tank using it. Now let's take a situation that I've seen quite a lot. When you go into content using leeching, you go into a vet DLC dungeon. This set essentially allows you to stand still, have aggro of a lot of enemies, let's say 10 enemies, and just hold block. And during the process of doing that, you get constantly healed by the set. If you want to DK, you also continuously get provided with incoming stamina via your combustion passive, and it allows you to just keep standing still and holding block permanently. Now this is the initial bad habit that you learn, because the set is basically just carrying you through the content at that point. You're not actually doing anything for yourself. So what happens then is when you want to progress onto something else, let's say a trial, and you have a raid leader who asks you to drop leeching, and rightfully so, because in a trial environment, leeching is really bad. And the problem that you get at that point is you can't sustain. And if you move away from the healer who's healing you, you have no incoming heals. And then the problem is you haven't developed the skills or experience to deal with any of those upcoming situations, because your entire development process while you were using leeching was you were getting carried, you were getting auto-sustain, auto-healing, auto-everything, and you're not able to you're not able to deal with those situations. So I do truly believe that leeching severely harms your ability to learn to tank, and it teaches you bad habits, which hold you back later on when you decide you want to do different content. If you want to learn as a tank, you need to learn when to heavy attack for sustain. You need to be able to react to high incoming damage by self-healing. You need to be comfortable dropping block to adjust your position and allow resources to regenerate. And you need to know when it's kind of valuable to roll dodge, because roll dodging is extremely valuable. And it's a useful thing to do when it's needed. But a lot of people who use leeching don't even dodge roll. Like, I see so many newer tanks who never ever dodge roll. And it's such a vital skill to be able to use in a situation where it's useful. And these are skills that often go missing on leeching users. And then when you try and get into a group who wants to do, I don't know, a hard mode DLC dungeon, or you want to go into a vet trial in like organised group stuff, these groups will not be expecting you to be using leeching. They will expect you to trust in your healer, since it's their job to actually keep you alive. And they will 100% want and need you to be using gear options to support the team. Gear that provides buffs. Gear that provides defense. Providing buffs, it increases group DPS. Increasing group DPS means the fights end faster. The fight ending faster means you have less chance to make a mistake, less time to run out of resources, less chance to die. So that benefits you a whole lot more in the long run, is being able to get those fights over faster rather than dragging them out and just looking after yourself. So this set can be replaced by having good magic recovery, being able to heal yourself, and heavy attacking. On a DK, you can just basically spam Igneous Shield, and that will replace the need of this particular set. It's a 5p set designed for healing, and I personally just trust in my healers most of the time, and I have myself heal ready for an emergency. You don't need a 100% constant healing like incoming. And the majority of your leeching ticks are actually wasted on overhealing, which is when you are healing while at full health. It's overhealing, and a lot of your healing ticks from leeching will be overhealing. In a situation where I personally need like extra self-healing, so let's say Veteran Cloud Rest. That's probably the only situation in the game where I personally need additional self-healing because I'm not getting it from a healer or anything else. And my own healing is going to potentially be too difficult. And in that situation, I use a 2-piece monster set. So an Earth Gore or a Troll King or something like that. I'd much rather use that than give up a 5-piece gear set. I'd rather just switch my monster set, because switching monster set to something more selfish, even if it was like an Engine Guardian or something for sustain, whatever you need, has much less of an impact on your group and your ability to support your group compared to dropping a useful 5-piece gear set to use Leeching. So I'd rather be using a group buff set or a defensive set than using a set that's just going to heal me. And when I can basically just heal myself with one button. I can just press a heal and it's one button, boom, I've got my health back. So for my final kind of comments, if you are a casual player, you don't main tank, you're happy staying where you are, you don't have a lot of time to play the game and things like that, and you're doing the content that you want to do and you're not looking to really progress onto harder content, then Leeching is absolutely great. It's a great set for you, and it's a set you should probably try and get and definitely use. If you are getting into tanking, wanting to go on and do harder content in the future, then you want to avoid it as much as possible, because it's a set that will carry you through content. It'll allow you to skip on the learning process, learning the fundamentals of how to tank, which in the long term has a really, really big negative impact on your tanking ability. And it means you're going to be really struggling later on when you want to do that harder content. It makes you learn bad habits, and you'll find it much more difficult to progress. So for this set, I am going to rate it 2 out of 5 stars. And that's because I started the Tank Club as a way to help tanks. Give them advice, give them help, guides, information on how to improve as a tank, learn the basics and the fundamentals, and to progress. That was why the Tank Club was started in the first place. And I want to help the tank community as a whole to just get better. And I strongly believe that this set does not help you do any of those things. So I can't give it my full support. And while I do believe for some people who have very little time to play, who want an easy life doing dungeons, it's a great set. And that's why it gets 2 stars instead of the 1 star I would have give it if we didn't take those people into consideration. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of comments and opinions about this, so let's have those in the comments below. I'll look forward to seeing them. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.